who I am over at drewsdaily.com. Just rock on over there, and there's some free stuff there, of course, just to make just that little bit easier for everyone to connect. So as the title suggests, just going to talk a little bit about maybe coffee and crypto. I say coffee because I'm having a coffee. So for those of you who don't know me, my name's Andrew. I am going to give you a little bit of my life story right now. And yeah, I sound a little bit hoarse right now. It's been a massive weekend. And not a massive weekend like I would have had when I was younger. You know, when we were young, teenagers, whatever, growing up in our 20s, we'd go out and we'd have a massive weekend. And that would mean a massive weekend probably hitting the purse and just letting our hair down. Well, I don't have any hair to let down anymore. And I'm a little bit older than that. But massive weekend in the space of learning and growing. And it started on Friday for me for a mastermind that I held with my community, and it was epic. So I've been traveling for the last 7 months. I think we left our home. We put that out to. We didn't sell it. We own it. We still have it. It still provides income for us, which is beautiful. It allows us to do what we want to do, and that is build wealth and show others how to do the same thing, but not in the traditional sense, because I think the traditional sense is, well, things have changed a lot, haven't they? And you've probably noticed that yourself. You've probably noticed that yourself. Now, they've changed a lot in the fact that 30, 40, 50 years ago, you probably had a relationship with your bank manager. And you would have been able to go in, have a chat. They would have known your circumstances, and you'd have been able to say, hey, I'm looking to buy a house, or I'm looking to buy a car, or I'm looking to do whatever, and I need to get a loan. And it would have been more so on, people would have been going, oh, well, yeah, cool. I'm just going to minimize some stuff here, guys, because I'm getting a little distracted and I want to give you my full attention. That have been said, oh, okay, well, what are your circumstances, where you're at? And look, I know you can't pay it this week, but what can we sort out? But nowadays, everything is so constricted and tight, and we go in cycles. We go in cycles where it's very, very easy to get credit, and then all of a sudden it's really, really hard to get credit. And that's by design, believe it or not. And it's not designed to help you get ahead. It's not designed to help you get ahead at all. In fact, it's realistically designed to help put you in the background. Now, I want to be clear that anything I say on this live stream it's not financial advice. This is from life experience. These are things that I do every day, day in, day out, and it's life experience. It's not any financial advice. Now, it's just after 6:30 in the morning, or just before 6:30 here in the morning, where I am currently on the Gold Coast of Australia. I'm in the Gold Coast's tallest building, the Q1, right near the top. So I can see the rain rolling in right now, which is beautiful, because I've already done my walk. I was up at 5:30. I was out, done my thing. I'm back, starting to go through my morning routine. And I'm actually starting a different morning routine because I'm here showing up for you first thing. Again, if you want to know more about what I am, about what I do, who I am, and how I help people just like you, then you can find that out over at drewsdaily.com. Now, I said about the banks and how they've changed. Well, my weekend, I also started by saying my weekend was a huge weekend, and it started out with a mastermind with my community. What were we talking about? We were talking about specifically the decentralized space, and specifically how we can help other people to utilize that. But what we found is that most people in the world don't even know what the decentralized space is, the DeFi space is. Now, there'll be people that'll say, oh yeah, I know exactly what DeFi is. Absolutely. I've got Bitcoin on crypto.com. Cool. You've got Bitcoin. That's awesome. You've got Ethereum. That's awesome too. That's great. You've got all these other plethora of meme coins. Great. Are you looking for the moonshot? Cool. Now, if you're hearing terms that you're like, what the hell are you talking about, Drew? That's okay. We aim to demystify that, because I'm going to be going live probably similar time most days. It could vary, look, because I travel a lot, so it is going to vary. When I go to a different time zone, it'll probably be 6:30 a.m. for me in that time zone, and it might be a different time for you where you are right now, and that's okay. Just know that I'm going to be showing up here every day to try and help you understand more about the DeFi space. Now, hello to everyone that is joining me there on TikTok. I can't see it. Hello, M. I see you there. No one cares. That's awesome, bro. I love that no one cares, and that's probably why you'll stay broke for the rest of your life, but that's okay. So where was I? the DeFi space. Most people that are in crypto, and I'd say there's still only less than 10% of the world's population that are in the blockchain space, in the crypto space, and most of them aren't even in the real DeFi space. They're in cryptocurrency, which is great. It's cool. You know, they're trying to do something different. I mean, Bitcoin was hailed as the people's money, wasn't it? And is it? Is it? maybe when it first started in 2009, absolutely. And when people could mine it, and we heard about old Laszlo that sold 10,000 Bitcoin for 2 pizzas worth about $41. Well, those 10 Bitcoin today worth over $1 billion. Sorry, 10,000 Bitcoin are worth over $1 billion. Now, is he upset that he sold them 15 years ago? Possibly, possibly not. But what we do also have to remember is that without him doing that, without him selling his Bitcoin for pizza, we possibly wouldn't have a market that we have today. We wouldn't have businesses that are accepting cryptocurrency for payment. And you only have to look around to see the changing of the time where more and more people are accepting, or more and more businesses are accepting cryptocurrency for payments. Even airlines now will allow you to pay, not all of them, admittedly, but quite a lot of them will allow you to pay for your flights using cryptocurrency, right? And again, if you want to know more about who I am, what I do, over at drewsdaily.com, there's a couple of things over there that you can get. And eventually these live streams will actually be up there, and you'll be able to go in and grab them there as well. Good. Now, I say coffee, and it is, but it's decaf, because I haven't had any alcohol in 4 years, and I haven't drunk caffeine in the last 3 months. It would have been 4 years as well, but I got into a silly state when I was in Europe, and I was like, oh, I've got to have coffee. I've got to have coffee. And every day, and I loved it. And then I had to wean myself back off caffeine, believe it or not. I thought I was so clever. But anyway, I digress. So coming back to cryptocurrency and the fact that, okay, there's less than 10% of the world's population that are using it, but even less than that are actually in the DeFi space itself. Now, if you've got cryptocurrency and it's sitting on a centralized exchange like Binance, and I've got nothing against these exchanges, by the way, don't get me wrong, please don't misconstrue. But if it's sitting on the likes of Binance, if it's sitting on crypto.com, if it's sitting on kraken.com, if it's sitting on any exchange where you yourself have had to KYC, know your customer, you've had to do all those things and jump through those hoops to prove you are who you are and that you're not money laundering, then you're not really in the DeFi space. Yeah, sure, you're in crypto, you're in a decentralized, or you're in the blockchain space, but you're not truly decentralized. And people today that hold Bitcoin, sure, that's great if you've got it in a non-custodial wallet. If you hold it in your own wallet, like Exodus, or on a ledger or a Trezor, but a decentralized wallet that you didn't have to KYC for, then of course that's your sovereign wealth. But realistically, if we look at the market that is Bitcoin per se, specifically for Bitcoin, and we look at the likes of BlackRock, and we look at the likes of Vanguard, and we look at the likes of Grayscale, that's Michael Saylor's company, they all own the majority. There's 5, and the 5th biggest holder is the US government, believe it or not, of Bitcoin. But they all hold enough Bitcoin that they can sway what the market does. They can say, okay, well, the market's going to do this now. The market, we're going to dump this much into the market, and it will drop the price of Bitcoin back. So it's really, as much as it's blockchain and decentralized, it's really not, because there's 5 major players that now can control whether it goes up and down. If we can add another layer to that, if we just think about it, the likes of Vanguard, BlackRock, even Grayscale, they're now offering ETFs. Now, an ETF, and again, none of this is financial advice, guys. This is all verifiable. You can go and read about this. You can go and look this up for yourself online, and I invite you to. You should always do your own research. But they have created things called ETFs, which is an electronic traded fund, right? So that basically means that the people in the public hand over their money to the likes of Grayscale and say, yes, I would like to participate in that electronic traded fund for Bitcoin. So people think through those funds that they're actually buying Bitcoin or Ethereum or whatever it is that you want to put on there. They're actually not. What they are doing is they're providing leverage to those companies. And again, I'm not taking shots at the companies, but they're providing leverage to those companies to be able to go out
and grab Bitcoin for themselves, right? So they can stockpile there more. So they basically, what that means is the BlackRocks of the world are using the public's money to go out and then stockpile more Bitcoin in their own coffers. Of course, the person that used the ETF or that traded in the ETF, that they expect a return off the back of that, and they will probably get it, but it won't be decentralized. It will be back into the centralized system where everything is trackable and everything is traceable. So the difference between being completely decentralized and in the DeFi space, as opposed to just being on blockchain, is that there is a bigger level of autonomy that comes with it. That's important. It's really, really important. Well, it's important if you want to be able to make the decisions for yourself. It's really important if you want to make the decisions for yourself moving forward in the future, right? Because I'm not sure if you've noticed, but that web, that net, if you like, of control is getting tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter. Now, I'm not going to, I love going down the rabbit holes and having a look, but I'm not going to spear off into some conspiracy theory right now. I'm just going to state the facts that are going on. We can see, particularly over the last 5 years, if you've been paying attention, you can see that there's more and more and more government and regulatory control that has been layered across the top. Now, everything will go on the blockchain. Everything. Your health records, your mortgages, not your mortgages, the titles for your property, everything will be available on blockchain. The record for your car. In fact, your car, everything, your properties, your gold, silver, uh, all commodities, wool, coffee, whatever, they'll all be tokenized on the blockchain. So it means they'll all be traded through blockchain. Now, in a perfect world, blockchain was set up to help the everyday people like you, like me, to be able to get ahead, to be able to escape from that rat race system of control. But as we move forward, there'll be more and more regulation that starts to layer on top of it that makes it just that little bit harder, because whether you like this or not, and this is absolutely my opinion, the system doesn't want you to be free of the system. it sounds ironic. I'm going to give you all of these opportunities. If you go to work and if you get a good job, go to school, get good grades, we're going to give you a very good job and you'll get paid. The salary you receive at those high paid jobs is the bribe they give you to give up on your dreams. Because we weren't all born to go to work, pay taxes, and die. That's the truth of it. We were born for freedom, and abundance is the natural flow. It's the natural flow. So DeFi was supposed to, and still will, if in the true the DeFi space idea, will provide you with that autonomy, with that financial sovereignty, if you like, if you want to put it in that terminology. Anyway, again, long way for a cup of coffee, John, mate. It's good to see you, buddy. I haven't seen you for ages. Good to catch up. But yeah, here's to that. It is a long way for a cup of coffee. I might have to come and have one with you up there in Norway, mate. So again, if you're not sure who I am, what I'm up to, who I help, and I literally have helped thousands of people in this space and continue to do so while traveling the world with my family, with my two oldest boys. Well, I've only got two boys. My two boys, my eldest daughter lives here on the Gold Coast, and she's incredibly independent, fiercely independent, just a beautiful soul. So I said, if you want to come, you can, but you have to pay for it yourself. Whereas the boys and my wife, we've been traveling, as I said, since November last year, and now we're actually back here on the Gold Coast for the event that I just spoke about over the weekend. So on the Friday we had the mastermind, and on the Saturday we just had a very massive, massive community event, and we are in the largest growing community in the world in this space for a specific blockchain. But that's not important right now. What is important is educating you and helping you understand what the DeFi space is. So it's like, imagine you are wanting to buy a car. It's a good example. Why not? Cars are common. Everyone, well, not everyone, but a lot of people want cars. At the moment, it's still legal for you to buy them, and I believe in the future they will try and make it so you cannot own your own private car, just like you won't be able to own your own property. So this gives you an opportunity to be able to still do that, believe it or not. So let's say you had $10,000 worth of Ethereum, okay? It might be five coins at the moment. I think it's just over 2.5 grand. So let's say you had 5 Ethereum and you got $10,000 there. Now, I wouldn't say that you should take that out and go and buy a car with it. But my example is that if you wanted to, you could literally send that Ethereum straight to that person without any permission, without anyone saying, hey, what are you using that money for? You could literally send it straight to them and they could send you the title of the car, but done. You own a car. Now, let's say if they accept crypto, cool. But if you can't do it in crypto, they want cash. They want a bank transfer. They want cash. Now you go to the bank and you say, hey, I'm buying a car. I've got 15,000. Actually, let's call it 20. I've got $20,000 in my bank account. I just want to get 10,000 of it, so I can buy this car, and I want it in cash. Sir, we don't hold that much cash on the premises. Oh, you're a bank or not? You'll find more and more banks are not holding cash on premises, and if you're taking large cash withdrawals, and believe it or not, they'd consider $10,000 a large cash withdrawal, they will ask you, or you'll have to give them at least 48 hours notice to have that cash on hand for you. So you ring them and say, hey, I'm coming in on Tuesday. It's Friday. I'm coming in on Tuesday and I'm going to buy, I need $10,000 in cash. They'll try to talk you out of it on the phone there and then. Then when you get in there, they'll give you all manner of questions. They'll give you 20 questions as to, okay, what's the cash for? Well, I'm buying a car. Well, can you prove that? Well, no, I'm just buying a car. They will give you every reason why they will not give you that money. Go and try it out for yourself. In fact, in Spain right now, they've passed a law that if you want to withdraw more than €3,000, I think it is, it's either 3 or 3,500 euro, that you have to provide the receipts as to what that money is going for. What the hell is happening? It's your money. It's in your bank account. You've obviously earned it from somewhere for it to be there. Why is it an issue for you to get the money out of the bank? Well, that's what DeFi fixes, because you're not going to have that middleman saying, hey, what's that money for? No, you can't have it for that. They're not going to dictate. They're not going to be able to dictate to you what you use it for. And that is financial sovereignty. That's you being able to make the decisions for yourself. Now, over the last 5 years, I mentioned the last 5 years, there's been a lot of things, obviously, go on, right? The least of which, or not the least of which, but certainly right up there is, not the least of which I should have said, is they've been telling you that you have to do something in order for you to keep your job for a lot of people. I mean, I've worked in this space specifically for almost 10 years. I've been in the networking space and working for myself for 15 or 16 years. Yeah, hey, look, there was some times where I had to go back and get a job, and I'm grateful for those times because it made me understand what I had in the space that I'm in right now. And that is true financial independence, true autonomy to travel, to do what I want, to go where I want, and not have to ask anyone about it. And realistically, I'm not in the banking system anymore. And it's kind of a cool place to be. So DeFi gives you choices when done right. And again, if you want to find out more about me and what I do, then over at drewsdaily.com, I usually have a nice little sign that I can flick around. This is backwards. It actually says I am. But anyway, it's on TikTok. It's not on the other side. You guys are seeing it the right way around. So yeah, if you want to know more about me, go over to drewsdaily.com about what I do and who I help. But it's my job, I believe, because I have the knowledge. I'm not an expert by any means of any stretch of the imagination, and I will never ever profess to be an expert in this space. If I was an expert in this space, I'd be able to build blockchain. And if somebody tells you they're an expert in this space, if they can't develop and build a blockchain, they're not an expert. They know a thing or two, I'm sure, and there's people that know much, much more than me. But I know enough to know that it's the way of the future for those that want to keep their own financial sovereignty, for those that want to keep control of what they do. Really, really important. Ruben, how you doing, brother? Good to see you, man. Good to see you. Hope you're having a coffee. I am. So this event on the weekend, it ran from, after the mastermind on Saturday, it ran from 7 a.m. No, it didn't. I'm telling you lies. It ran from 7:30 a.m. to about 5:30 p.m. at night, and we had a 45-minute break for lunch. So it was a full-on day. There was a lot of information. There was a lot of information about how the DeFi space is really, really changing the landscape. Now, I'll give you another example of DeFi versus the centralized space. And it's just that. It's an example. So in the DeFi space, you get to, as I've already said, create your own reality. You get to create your own sovereignty, your own wealth, your own freedom. And a lot of people in the traditional sense will go, well, I can do that within the bank. Well, can you though? Can you really? Let's say that you have a term deposit. And again, this isn't financial advice at all. This is just what's out there in the place, right in the space. You can research this yourself. You can have a look at this yourself. And there are some awesome tools out there that you never ever have to come back into the banking system. And the banking system's dying anyway. The SWIFT system as we know it. I started talking about it at least 3 years ago, probably 4 or 5 years ago, around 2020 when all that bullshit started, right? The SWIFT system is dying. In fact, it will come to an end sometime this year. And everything will go to a new messaging protocol, the ISO 200. I can't even think of it now. It's been so long since I've spoken about it. But there is only a limited amount of blockchains that will work with that protocol. And yeah, a few of them, they're all decentralized, but a few of them are controlled by the system. But there's still those out there that aren't. And they're the ones that you need to be looking for to really have your own autonomy and wealth and freedom. Excuse me. So, yeah, I can't remember the tangent that I was on then, but it'll come back, I'm sure. Who else is joining us here? Hey, Nicole, how you doing? Mitchie, how you doing, brother? Good to see you, man. Oh, what happened there? Nope, that happened there. My screensaver come on. I'm not plugged into power. Not on TikTok, guys. You guys didn't see me on TikTok, and that's fine. All one of you that is watching. I'm not really concerned. I don't really care. I do. I care about you, and I care about your outcomes. We were talking about, I was giving you an example. There it is. So if in the traditional sense, if you were to put, say, $100,000 into a term deposit, or you had it tied up in, no, let's just use that example. You had a term deposit, $100,000 tied up in a term deposit in a bank, and they were giving you, what do they get? What are they giving these days? 5-6% per annum? Let's be generous and say they were giving you 7% per annum. They're not giving you 7% per annum, but let's say they were. Let's say they were giving you 7% per annum. If they can afford to give you 7% per annum and you think you're doing good, what are they making on your money? Because remember, on a term deposit, they say you have to lock this up with us for 24 months or 36 months or whatever length you go on for. Hey, Darren, how you doing, brother? We should catch up soon, man. I see you watching on YouTube. Look, this is so magic. This platform that I use here, it's all called Ecamm Live. It only runs on a Mac. I can stream to multiple locations, not TikTok, so I have to do that on my phone. That's you guys. You're on my phone. But the rest of you are on this other thing called Ecamm Live, and I can see where the comments are coming from. So I know that Darren just commented from YouTube, and I know the others have commented from Facebook. So that's kind of cool. Technology is wild. Technology is wild. Anyway, back to my point. 24, 36, however many months in a term deposit, $100,000. Now, if you decided that you needed that money for whatever, you go, okay, shit, I've got an emergency. When Aunt Polly's really not well and I need to get home to see her, and I'm on the other side of the world, so it's going to cost me $10,000 to get me and the whole family back to see them. In fact, this is a scenario. This is a real life scenario for me. In February, I was sitting in Turkey working, and I got a message from my sisters, and they're like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "I'm freaking fine. What's up?" They go, "Oh, you've not heard about Dad?" And I was like, "No, what's happened with Dad?" And it turned out my father had been rushed to hospital. Now he's getting on in years. He just had his 79th birthday in March. I was there for it, thankfully. But because of this, right? It's because of this. I got the message that he was he'd been rushed to hospital and he almost didn't make the hospital right. And it's like, shit, this is pretty serious. I better get home. Now, had I had my money in a term deposit, I might have had to say, hey, I need to break that term deposit. Now, they're going to go, oh, look, we fully understand where you're at, Drew. And we're not going to charge you any penalties. We're going to give you the full 7% even as if you've been, you've done your 24 months. They're never, ever going to do that. The banks are out to make money for themselves. That's all they are. A bank is a shop for money. So go where you're going to get the best rate. But I wouldn't even do that anymore because there's better stuff out there. There's much, and again, not financial advice at all. There are better things out there. Go and research it for yourself. So if I'd had it in a term deposit, it would have cost me a lot of money to get the money out. When I say cost me a lot of money, it would have cost me a lot of foregone money and a penalty to get the money out to be able to get home. Given that it was in the DeFi space, in a different but similar setup, I could take that money and I could use it without penalty to myself, and it was instant. It was straight away. I didn't have to wait. I didn't have to fight the banks. I could just do it for myself. Didn't have to wait, didn't have to fight, do it for myself. And that is in a thing, and again, this is not financial advice, but you can put that money to work for you, and I put it to work for me inside a thing called a liquidity pool or a liquidity pair. Now, can be an incredibly volatile market, believe it or not, particularly when you're not using, when one of your base pairs, and we've talked about liquidity pairs, there's two, right? There's one coin and there's another coin. But if both of your liquidity pairs are moonshots, or if they're not stable, then you could go backwards on that scenario. But if one of them is a stable coin like USDT, for an example, then that if I put my base in of, let's use that $100,000 example, if I put my base in at $100,000, then it's still going to be $100,000, and I'm earning the fees on that, regardless of what happens with the price of the other coin or the USDT. I put in 100,000, I'll be able to take out 100,000. It's not going to be volatile and go backwards. The value's still going to be there because one of the coin is stable. So that is a real life scenario that is available to everybody right now in the DeFi space. No middleman, no banker, no, you can't take your money out of that, sir. What's it for? What's it for? There's none of that bullshit. And I believe we will see over the next 5-10 years, probably not even that long, we will see, we're already starting to see more and more banks closing their doors. We're starting to see cash start to evaporate. Now, make no mistake, they want a cashless society. And you might go, well, Drew, you're talking about DeFi. You're talking about crypto. That's not cash. No, it's not. You're right. I have to agree with you there, but it's also not fiat. It's also not controlled, for the most part, by someone else. Whereas fiat currency is, even if they go full digital, in fact, when they go full digital, it's going to be even worse for you. If you haven't heard of a little thing called a CBDC, a central bank digital currency, then you should probably have a look at it. Look it up, because it's a programmable money. And if you're not being a good citizen, they could decide that they're not going to allow you to use your money this month. You might go, actually, I'm going to go for a drive, Gold Coast, all the way down to Sydney. It's 1,000 Ks. I'm going to have to stop along the way, get some fuel. Well, if you're on CBDC, you might get as far as Ballina and need to fill up. Well, let's say you've gone a little bit further. Newcastle need to fill up, and they're like, hold on. This person's 500 kilometers away from where they should be. No, we're not allowing them to buy any fuel here. Then they can come find you in there because they know you can't get any further. And you're done. These 15-minute cities that people talk about, they're a reality that are coming. And the DeFi space, if you use it correctly, is an escape from that. It's an escape from everything. Because make no mistake, and it's clearly written in the UN agenda, the 2030 thing is real. So look up Sustainable Development Goals. They use pretty language that confuses a lot of people, but they all explain exactly what they want to do. So go and give yourself a little bit of an education there in that sense. So again, if you want to know more about who I am, what I do, who I help, then you can find that out over at drewsdaily.com. There's a couple of worksheets there, depending on which page you land on. I'll be honest, there's two. We're split testing over there. There's 2 pages that you can land on, one right now. One's DeFi kit and the other's a sovereign wealth kit. So Depending on which one you land on, you might want to come back another time, although it'll be cookied in, so that might not work. You have to clear your browser, all that sort of stuff, all that technical shite. But anyway, I hope you're enjoying your coffee. I am, and I'm enjoying my time here with all you right now. There is change coming. And if you're not prepared for it, and I'm not trying to be doom and gloom, I'm just saying there's options there, guys. And there's still options there right now for everybody. But that net that I spoke about before, it's getting tighter and tighter and it's closing. They're trying to close all the loopholes up. If you go to your bank and say, hey, I want to put $50,000 into cryptocurrency, they'll go like, who told you to do this? What scam are they running? They'll ask you another 50,000 questions as to why you want to get into the crypto space. Then if you get past that hurdle from the bank and into crypto, into a centralized exchange, because that's the only way that you can go on-ramp fiat to crypto right now is through a centralized exchange. Many of those centralized exchanges will not allow you to remove the funds from the centralized exchange to your own non-custodial wallet. Now, a non-custodial, I've said that a couple of times now, a non-custodial wallet simply means that you control the keys to it. You control the keys. You have them. And, oh my goodness. That is the keys to your world. It's the keys to your safe. And if you don't protect them, then people can rob you. If you put them on a website where they shouldn't be, or if you store them on your computer, if you take a screenshot of them, it's out there in the Web 2 space, and people, if they can hack your computer, which they can. I mean, there was a massive data leak last week where billions of passwords were released from, well, Apple, Google, all the major players. So you might want to check your security at the moment as well. But if you put that 12-word, 24-word seed phrase somewhere that it shouldn't be, then somebody can have your money taken. And sadly, this is more and more happening more and more. And the reason it's happening more and more is because there's not enough XRP and Bitcoin. Hey, it's a good one, Mitchie. So I'll come back to that question, buddy, because I can I've got a visual reference. Hey, morning, Sky. How are you, mate? Hey, Jane. How are you? It's good to see you here. So I had a person just in the last week, and sadly, it's happened more and more. And the reason it's happening more and more is because there's not enough education in the space for people. Not enough people know how to really, navigate the space. And again, that's one of the reasons why I'm here. It's one of the reasons why I'm showing up, because I want to help people navigate the space. It's really, really important. It's really important. And most people don't take enough responsibility. And the reason they don't take enough responsibility is because the government's made it so easy for them not to. Like, seriously, we're indoctrinated from a very young age. I don't know if you ever read I haven't read it, but I know there's passages in there, the Communist Manifesto. It takes 12 years to indoctrinate someone. I just want you to think about that. 12 years to indoctrinate someone. How long is the school system? Interesting, right? Anyway, I digress. I had someone just last week, beautiful, beautiful soul, beautiful person, contact me and distraught. It's gone. I'm like, what's gone? I had $9,000 in my wallet. It's gone. 9,000 USDT. It's gone. Well, this is gone. Well, I don't know. I just woke up and it was not there. Now, guys, this can't happen. Web3 is probably the most secure that you're ever going to get. You control it, right? You control the keys. That's the thing. But inadvertently, they'd visited a website that asked for their seed phrase. Now, those in the crypto space know, well, you never do that. You never get it out. I'll give you another example in a second as well. You never do that. You do never ever give your seed phrase out. You don't store it on your computer. You write it down and put it in a safe. You store it as securely as you can, but not on your computer. $9,000 gone because she went to a site and she put in her seed phrase. And then sometimes it's not even that. Sometimes you don't even put your seed phrase in. Maybe you visited a site that has a malicious link and all of a sudden it's put a Trojan virus. And it's called a Trojan for a reason, because it's not what it is. It looks like the Trojan horse, right? It looked like a Trojan horse, a gift from the Greeks, but it wasn't. They were all hiding inside it. Same thing with the Trojan virus. It looks like something, but it performs another way. And that way is that it installs a virus that looks for and sniffs out 12-word seed phrases. That's why you don't store them on your computer. It's a true story. And sadly, It's gone. So you had to create a new wallet because that wallet now is compromised. Once it's compromised forever. There's no recovering that wallet. Doesn't matter what you do. So you have to create a new one. So we got that sorted out for it. And another example I'll give you is because I'm reasonably savvy around it. I won't say, as I said before, I'm not an expert. I don't never ever profess to be an expert, but I know a thing or two, right? And again, if you want to know who I am, what I do, you can find out more over at drewsdaily.com. So I got a phone call. I was in Kuala Lumpur just a couple of weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, and I was on my way out the door, and I got a phone call from a Melbourne number. And a guy on the end of it he was British, and he was very well spoken, very articulate. And he said it's whatever his name was, from CoinCave. I think it was CoinCave. Anyway, the support mechanism for Ledger. Now, I do happen to have a Ledger, right? And for anyone that had a Ledger, if they got this call and weren't savvy enough, they might go, this is legit. This guy sounded incredibly legit. He goes, now, I just need you to know that Ledger will never ever call you. I was like, cool, I know that. He goes, well, I'm from CoinCave, and this is I'm here because blah 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 blah. And I just started laughing, and he goes, what's the problem? I was like, well, you just told me that Ledger support will never ever call me. He goes, oh, well, I'm not from Ledger. I was like, yeah, okay, good. And he goes, don't give me the attitude. So his posture was so good that anyone that was just in a half a mind would go, oh, okay, this is legit. It wasn't legit because I've never ever used and will never ever use Ledger support for them to store my 12-word seed phrase. I'm the sovereign of it, not anyone else. As soon as I give up sovereignty of that seed, that keyword, the seed phrase or the key private key, that's it. I've given up my wallet. So I'll never ever do that. So just got to be careful out there because there is a lot of people that will try it on. And there's a lot of people that want to take advantage of uneducated people, which again is one of the reasons why I'm here, why I show up. I've got a mission to help 10,000 people in the next 12 to 18 months generate a minimum of 6 figures through the DeFi space. 6 figures a year, 6 figures annually through the DeFi space. So again, if you want to know more about that, go over to drewsdaily.com. So coming back to your question, Mitchie, XRP, Bitcoin, what wallet? One that holds both, Exodus. It's probably one of the industry standards. They're always doing security updates. It's one that I use. It's one of the wallets I use. It's not all of them. But also, if you want to go cold, Trezor. I'm going to name well, there's another one out there, Alipal now, which is like the Rolls Royce, but it's very expensive. It's $500. But Trezor, Ledger, Keystone is another good one. I had a very big conversation around Keystone yesterday, which is a cold wallet. And there's an air gap. There's no way in hell. It's actually the best one from best. Again, not financial advice. It's the best, most secure, best, most affordable one for the blockchain that I helped launch at the start of this year. And the blockchain that I helped launch at the start of this year, guys, for those that are listening that are still here, it is the fastest growing blockchain, biggest community, fastest growing community in the world in 2025. And that's for a reason. It's because it takes the best of, the first one, Bitcoin, and takes the best of the next biggest one, Ethereum, and then Solana, which is becoming huge right now for trading memes and all that sort of thing. It takes the best of those three and puts it all in one chain. It's got speed, it's got scarcity, and it's got easy development for people that want to come on and use it. There's already over 300 projects on the chain that people are building on right now. Now, maybe if you're new to DeFi, if you're new to blockchain, that might sound like, well, what the fuck are you talking about, Andrew? Okay, that's cool. But again, that's why I'm here. Show up every day and you'll start to learn more and more about it, which is the idea. The idea is that you need to educate. The problem with society is that we expect to be spoon-fed everything. Oh, how do you do that? And funnily enough, I have created a tool that does help spoon-feed people, but it's not. They've still got to ask the questions to get the answers that they need. So, Mitchie, I hope that answers your questions about wallets, mate. And it was there's more in here too. Hey, Jay, Joy, how you doing, brother? Good to see you, man, bro. You did so well on the weekend. So there's a couple of people watching here on Facebook for you TikTokers. A couple of people on Facebook that are watching that also spoke on the weekend at the event, and I'm so proud. Anyway, so the long and the short, I've just realized that I'm saying so a lot. I'm saying now a lot. And I guess that's what happens when you just shoot from the hip and drink your coffee while you're having a live. And it's good coffee too, by the way. Even though it's decaf, so delicious. So delicious. Right. Where am I? Well, because I'm not sure of what to say right now, head over to drewsdaily.com. You can find out more. As I said, we've got the Sovereign Wealth Kit there and also the DeFi checklist. So you can go over and check that out. But if you do want to know more, then I'll go over and my details are there that you can, or you can even message on here or whatever. The fact is, the banking system, the financial landscape, it is changing. And in 1930-ish, or 1929 is where it started, there was a thing called the Great Depression. Yes, it's almost 100 years ago. There was a thing called the Great Depression. And there were literally business tycoons throwing themselves off multi-story buildings to kill themselves because they'd lost their fortune overnight. We're in a similar time. Now, I don't want people to be throwing themselves off the building, but inevitably that is probably what will happen. We are in, and I wrote about this in the very first book that I wrote, that I didn't market, let's be honest, called Rivers of Gold, How to Create Multiple Income Streams, right? There is the biggest or the greatest transfer of wealth in the history of man is occurring right now. And it started in 2020. You've only got to go back and look at the top 5 richest people in the world and how much money they made during that time. I think both Musk's and who's the other one? Jeff Bezos' wealth increased by a minimum of $100 million. $100 billion. So it's huge. You got to go back and look at that. Botan coming in here, seeing your question there. If you know XRP and you still follow Bitcoin alone, I'm not quite sure what you're trying to say there. It's not easy to have one Bitcoin, but you can have more than 100 XRP. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. But that's not financial advice. Go out and you've got to understand, excuse me, you've got to understand what XRP is going to be used for. Now, sadly, there was some idiot, and I will call them that. I will absolutely call them that. There was some idiot at the event on Saturday that was telling people that they should everything they mine in this new blockchain. It's already smashing records. It's already well bigger than Bitcoin was after its first 4 months. Well bigger than Ethereum was after. In fact, it's probably bigger than most of them were after their first 4 months. It's in the top. Actually, I don't even know where it is. It's in the top 1,500, which is no small feat. It's already listed on 5 different exchanges. It's already listed. It's got a listing. It's only in what do they call it? An integration site? No, that's not. It's listed in CoinMarketCap. It's already there. It's in the top 1,500. That doesn't happen after 4 months generally. But they were telling people that they should sell that to buy XRP. Now, don't get me wrong. I am an advocate for XRP because I believe I know where it's going. I believe I know what it's. I've done enough research to go, okay, that's what it's going to be used for. I'm going to hold that. Not financial advice. But they were telling people to sell what they were mining to buy XRP. That's dumb. That's just dumb. It's just dumb. I'm not an advocate for selling your assets. And most people misunderstand what assets are. They buy a house and they go, yep, it's my asset. Are you living in it? Yeah. It's great, blah, blah, blah. It was not an asset because it's costing you money. Unless it's putting money back into your pocket, and you can go and look at this and Rich Dad Poor Dad and go and talk with Robert Kiyosaki and any teachings that he does. That's not an asset. An asset is something that puts money into your pocket. A liability is something that takes money out of your pocket. Now you go, are your kids, are they an asset or a liability? Probably a liability, but you love them regardless. There's some things that you have to have. It could be an asset too. You could be pouring into them and they're going to provide for you in your future. And when you're retiring and they're going to look after you, maybe you're looking at it that way. Of course, you want to give your kids as good a start as you can. And that's looks different for everyone, and that's okay. But coming back to the DeFi, Coffe, crypto, you can basically. Oh, I haven't got my wallet on me, but I could show. I have a couple of cards that are all cryptocurrency based, debit cards that I can load with cryptocurrency. It means I don't have to go to a bank, and I can spend it. It's on my phone. I can spend it the same as I spend debit from my bank account. The difference being, I'm not limited by what my bank manager says. And if it all boils down, that's the biggest thing is what's the difference between individual sovereignty and having a middleman telling you what you can and can't do? It's just that somebody tells you what you can and can't do. I've said it once, I've said it twice over the course of this half hour or so that we've been here, and that is the net's closing. The doors are closing. You can still get into the DeFi space right now. The doors are open, but just barely. And if you want to know more about that side of it, then reach out and I can tell you more. We can have a one-on-one conversation. You can ask me any of the questions that you've got. But again, if you want to know more right now about what I'm doing, where I'm at, who I am, then go over to drewsdaily.com. 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 Go over there. As I said, there's a sovereign wealth sheet. There's a DeFi checklist, depending on which page you land on, and that will change out in the future. But there's plenty of other things that I've got too. I show people, and obviously I said I was going to introduce myself a little bit more. Maybe I'll go into that a little bit tomorrow. So jump on tomorrow's call, tomorrow's live streaming, and find out a little bit more about my story and where I've come from and why this is so important for me. Why it's so important for me and why it's so important for me to help others understand the same thing. You know, I joined the military when I was 17. I often joke. I always say, yeah, when I was 17, I ran away and joined the circus. And then they go, circus? Yes, yeah, the RNZF. And that's no disrespect to the RNZF. It's just I loved my time there and I love the people there. And I've still got very, very good friends from my time in the service. And I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't. It was great. But the fact is, I was young, I was idealistic. I thought that was how I was going to change the world. It's not how I'm going to change the world. We're all here on Earth with a purpose. Now, some of us will spend our whole life trying to figure out what that purpose is. Some of us will just go, oh, that's what I do. It took me years and years and years and years. I always thought that I was born in the wrong time. I thought I was, because I love the 60s and, well, even 50s, 60s and 70s music. Love it. Love it. And I was like, oh, man, I was born too late. I should have been brought up in that era because it would have been awesome. And then there was times I was like, shit, I was born too early because I was too early for this. The fact is I was born right exactly when I was supposed to be born because it gives me the knowledge of both the analog world and the digital world. And it helps me transition those from the analog world into the digital space, into the digital world. And they don't have to understand it deeply. They just have to understand that they need to do something. And that's you. It could be that. It's made me, yeah, absolutely, Jane. It has made me exactly who I am. Botang, we saw you talking about tokenization of assets. Hey, Yvonne, hope you're well. Good to see you. Freedom of trade can only be possible. Yes. I see what you said. So I'm coming back to something that a comment that I've had on, and I think I can add that. I don't know. Oh yeah, there you go. I can add that. You won't be able to see that on TikTok, guys, and it's probably a little bit small even on here, so I'll make it just that little bit bigger. Botang said the freedom of trade can only be possible when tokenization has arrived, and what he's talking about with that is, you know, that's going to disappear soon, and that's okay. I'm just going to do it right now. What he's talking about that is coming back to something that I said before about, you know, everything will be tokenized. Your house, your car, your health records, commodities, coffee, wool, gold, silver. It'll all be tokenized. And it'll get to a point, even if you can't afford, you know, property is getting more and more expensive. And ironically, if we look back at property, in 1920, 10 kilos of gold would have bought you a property. And in this day and age, 10 kilos of gold would buy you a property. See how that works? Anyway, you'll be able to, the properties these days, like this one that I'm sitting in right now, you wouldn't get any change out of $4 million, I wouldn't imagine. Not everyone can afford $4 million, but they might be able to afford 40,000 or 400,000. So they'll be able to tokenize it. You won't need to use the bank. This is where I'm going. You don't need to use the bank. People go, oh, I need to put my bank, but your money's not, again, not financial advice. Your money's not safe in a bank anyway, and it's not safe on a centralized exchange. You need to be in control of it, which is the big lesson in all this. You need to learn DeFi, and if you're not learning it yet, then you got to ask yourself why not. I thought it was from the 50s. What, the gold? Nah, it's definitely the 20s. Oh, you thought you were from the 50s? Yeah. Fuck you. I am not. Excuse my French. Right. Actually, that might be censored on TikTok because apparently you're not allowed to swear there. I apologize, TikTok. So there's plenty of things that you can do for yourself right now, but the first of which is, if you don't understand what DeFi is, jump on YouTube. Or even better yet, go over to drewsdaily.com, register, and we can have a chat. You have access to me. We can talk. Simple. In fact, I'm pretty sure there's a link on there to my WhatsApp. So you can jump in and we can talk. No worries. Oh, cheers, Ruben. Good to see you, brother. It is achievable, bro. It is achievable, man. It is. Ruben said, and I'm going to add this and I'm going to explain it a little bit for you. Um, Ruben is my brother his brother from another mother. He's from New Zealand. We grew up together. He said, love your kōrero. Now, for those who don't speak Māori, kōrero is a talk. So that's what we're doing right now. We're having a bit of a chat. Make it sound achievable for someone like me, have some understanding. Bro, it's achievable for anyone. And this is what I'm trying to really bring across for everyone, is that you don't have to be a genius. You just have to take a step. And I'm not saying that you're not, Ruben. You're a very educated and articulate man. But you don't have to be a genius. You just have to take a step. You have to just understand, okay, I do need to learn some more about this space. I do need to do something here. What's my logical next step? drewsdaily.com will help you with that, obviously. I'm happy to help you with that. I want to help 10,000 people over the next, and I can't do it alone. I can't do it alone. So I've got to help other people. I've got to help other people, educate other people so they can help me do that too. 10,000 people in the next 12 to 18 months earn 6 figures or more a year over the next 12 to 18 months. But that's 6 figures a year through DeFi. Through DeFi. Now, there's no income claims on that. Some people are going to do it. Some people aren't. It comes down to your level of commitment, your level of drive, your level of persistence. Are you showing up consistently? Are you doing the right actions each and every day? It's going to be different for everyone. Different circumstances. But if you allow your circumstances to dictate where you're going to be right now, or where you're going to be even in 3, 4, 5 years, if you allow your circumstances of what is happening right now to dictate what's happening in 3 to 4 years, no one can help you. You got to get past your excuses. You got to start nailing down. You got to start looking at how things are rolling out for you. Right. So we've been here for just about an hour, just under an hour. I hope you found value in what I've said. Chuck some love, to give him some emojis or whatever in the chat. That would be awesome. Booting saying everything you need to know is already having more teachers on YouTube, and after you can make it. Absolutely. YouTube, there is heaps of information. In fact, when I first moved to Australia, here's a little bit of my story. When I first moved to Australia in 2008, I moved with the shirt on my back. And yeah, I was running from an old identity. Me. I was running from myself. But funnily enough, when I turned up here, I was still here. So I still had the same issues because this hadn't changed. This little top 2 inches. My old man, when I was racing IRBs, used to say, it's the top 2 inches that'll win in a race. I didn't get it when I was 18. What are you fucking talking about, Dad? Top 2 inches? I don't get it. The grey matter, the slip between here and here, it's the top 2 inches that will win the race. It's the top 2 inches that will make the difference between whether you are wealthy or not. And I don't mean wealthy with heaps of money. They're rich. You're just rich. If you got heaps of money, you're just rich. And there's nothing wrong with money. You need it to survive. It's kind of like oxygen. If you haven't got any, it's really, you really notice it. But it doesn't make you wealthy. Your actions, the things you do, the people you help, the difference you make in the life you live is what makes you wealthy. I was just listening to a podcast on my walk. Actually, it was interesting. And it was about manifestation of wealth. And he spoke, a woman was talking about, I can't even remember her name, but she was talking about, she said, if people that are truly wealthy talk about experiences. They don't talk about things. They don't talk about their Rolex or their Lambo or their jet. Those things are cool, don't get me wrong. You still want to aspire for that. But that's not what having wealth is about. Having wealth is about how many people can you help? What can you assist? And some people have a bank account that's half the size of a lot of big tycoons, but they're still wealthier. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with having money. You should aspire to do so because it allows you to do and have more experiences. The things that even if you lost all your money, they can't take away from you. That's true wealth. And the example was, being able to say to someone, oh, they're heading to this place, and you comment, oh, you should go and check out this little cafe or this little bar. This is awesome. The little bodega in Korea. Go and check that out. It's the experience. And I thought about that at the time, and I was like, man, I just had an old school friend travel through, where'd they go? They went to India, went to Taj Mahal, which is beautiful, by the way, especially at sunrise. It's just amazing. So he went and saw the Taj Mahal, and then he went to Vietnam, and then he went to Bali. I was like, wow, that's so cool. And when he was in Vietnam, I was like, bro, make sure you go to this cafe and have a egg yolk coffee in Vietnam in Hanoi. Oh my goodness, so good. Turns out he'd already been. It was like, but you got to go. Like it's the experience. And then he's in Bali and he was staying not in Canggu, but not far from Canggu. I was like, bro, there's a bakery there called Fold. Go and check that out. So just being able to share that, and I sort of thought about it and went, man, that's kind of cool that I'm having those experiences myself and allowing my kids to do the same thing and grow up that way. So, guys, I've been Drew, or I am Drew. I have been Drew too. I've been Andrew, but you call me Doc Drew, and you can see more of what I do and who I help. And basically, I help anyone 35 to 55 navigate their way through the transition into the DeFi space, and I show them how they can make money there. Good money, not pretend money, but it depends on you and what you want. So you can find out more over at drewsdaily.com. Make sure you go over there, check it out. I would love to see you there. As I said, there is a link there that you can flick me a message on WhatsApp, and I will reply, and it is me. You may get a robotic reply too, don't get me wrong, but I will reply. No two ways about it. So it's been great to be here with you this morning. I will be back probably similar time tomorrow. And until then, have a most amazing day. You create everything. You do. You create everything in your life, the good, the bad, the ugly, doesn't matter. You create everything in your life, so you might as well go and create an amazing day for yourself. Been great to be here with you. Again, my name's Drew. Find out more at drewsdaily.com. And I look forward to seeing you on the next one. He konei rā, ka kite anō.